Hi Cancer, here is a general look at your solar chart for November 2014. Now all of the signs are getting some Saturn around this month because the Sun is in the sign that Saturn is transiting through, and that's the sign Scorpio. So from the beginning of the the beginning of the last week, the beginning of the last week of October to the beginning of the last week of November, we have the Sun going through Saturn, which is actually another water sign in a really good resonance with your Sun sign. And but Saturn has been transiting through there for quite some time, and for about 2 years. In fact it will be 2 years, just over 2 years. And so for you and for all of the signs, there will be like this quick, slow energy, a bit like a waltz. So I will let you know which are the dates that it's likely to be slowed down, and then just take it as read that the rest of the time will be quite sort of wishing forwards on your Sun sign chart anyway, because of course the natal charts are always a different kettle of fish, but the two kind of combine in some strange, mysterious magic. So until the 22nd is actually really quite a bright, upbeat vibration around underpinning favorite pursuits with favorite people, or hobbies, or pastimes, or just doing something that you go, yes, and feel really empowered about, okay? And so participating in those sorts of activities and opening yourself up to the environment that could provide that kind of opportunity to you. Also, it is about little people like children, babies, youngsters of all kinds, pets, animals, those sorts of beings that we can feel quite relaxed with because we're not judged by them. Well, not unless they're maybe adolescent youngsters, and then of course there's no contest, no point in making any effort whatsoever. However, we still have to. But where's the point? Well, the point is probably further down the line. So, and this is where you've had Saturn, you see. You've had Saturn in that area, which is for all of us, wherever Saturn turns up in our charts, that's where we've got to take the long view and work quite hard without much reward, and perhaps oftentimes through adversity in that area. And for you, it is the area of potentially adolescence, or it is the area of children. Because of them, your wings are clipped a bit, or you're limited a bit, or you haven't got as much, wriggle room, and that can be in all kinds of ways. Or it might be because of an enterprise, because of taking a risk or a gamble, or because of a project, a major project. You've just got to keep plugging away there, because there's not a lot of reward as you're going forwards. It's always success against the odds with Saturn. It's always it's always going to be through adversity that you win. So it's winning, through adversity. And this is the area of it, the area that the Sun is in as the month, well, for most of the month. So you see what I mean about all of the signs having some Saturnitis, and for you it's in this area to do with young energy, enterprising energy, hobbies, leisures, pastimes, the leisure industry, creative pursuits, creative things. And that's where you've got to work just a little bit harder. So the timing of it, well, we've got here we've got times for you to watch out for, actually, which are quite important to you, are the times when the moon is coming across Saturn. And that's going to be on the 7th and the 8th, depending on your time zone, the 14th or the 15th. It could be in the night, so you'll be asleep, so that's fine. The 22nd and the 28th, yes, the 28th, particularly on the 28th, that's also when Mercury is a bit snarled up with Saturn as well. In fact, Mercury is snarled up with Saturn between the 22nd and the 28th. Particularly watch out for the 22nd and the 28th. And also particularly watch out for, I would say, the second week of November, simply because we've got some Saturnitis in that second week, in fact the second and third week. And remember what I said at the beginning, I'm just going to point out to you the naughty bits, and then the rest of the month, you know, should go quite swimmingly, but I'm not going to mention that because, you know, I just don't have enough time. So yes, particularly the second week, because not only is there Saturn around there, on Venus as well, between the 10th and the 14th, which is to do with matters of the heart. You just have to watch your P's and Q's. It will be more formal or more business-like or firm with somebody about something, whether you know them personally and it's matters of the heart, you know, or it's just like a business thing. In fact, it can work quite well if it's a business thing, because Saturn seems to prefer that formality and that at arm's length kind of interaction rather than the touchy-feeling one. It doesn't like that. So there, and also, though, I'm mentioning the second week because we're getting transit across Pluto and Uranus with Mars. And Mars is a great trigger. Mars is a great fire starter. So you may or may not know, you will if you follow the astrology on the internet, that Pluto and Uranus are, you know, behind, like the ghosts in the machine. They are behind this huge upheaval and tension and conflict and coercion going on across the planet as an old paradigm dies. It's a dangerous dragon-like monster, but it's dying. But it will, you know, there will be casualties along the way, as we've already seen, and there will be some more until this this game has changed. And these two are the game changers. That's what their job is. That's what they're about. And they always do come in and do it. You know, they were there in the 30s. They were there in the 60s. In a smoother relationship, so the game changed more smoothly, you know, flower power and women's lib and the beginnings of like all of that stuff, hippies and different types of music coming in. You know, it wasn't just jazz and rock and roll and sort of like ballroom music. It was you know, beat and rock and the Stones and the Beatles and Queen and Led Zepp and what are they called? My favorite, and I can't even remember their name. It'll come to me. So yeah, they always change the game. They change the game across all systems. So that's what they're about. Change is afoot. And we are coming particularly over the top of them in the second week. So for you as a cardinal sign, I'm particularly emphasizing this point, is that there could be some resistance and then breakthrough. But also you need to sort of be relaxed and as flexible as possible, sort of hanging loose, you know, do some deep breathing. That's always a good idea, because there could be some surprises there as well. So that's in the second week. And yeah, okay. And then in the third week, though, the Sun just briefly goes over the top of Saturn. I thought I'd just mention that because we're on the subject of what to look out for, or not to schedule anything major, perhaps if you possibly can, you know, over the times that there is a little bit stronger essence of Saturn around. So that would be the 17th to the 19th, and also the times that I told you about the moon. Particularly, you know, when Saturn's on the moon, it can make us feel like, oh, nobody loves me, you know, a bit like that. So just say to yourself in advance, those dates that I said earlier, I'm just going to be there for me. I'm going to be self-centered in the most positive way, and not in a selfish way, self-centered. And I'm going to look after myself, because probably everybody else is going to be too busy and too distracted or too into their own shadow stuff to pay any attention to me. And if they do pay attention to me, it might be that they're projecting onto me. That isn't really me. I'm here behind your projection. Can't you see me? So things are weighing a little bit more heavily whenever Saturn is on the moon. But hey, Saturn, you know, often goes over the moon, and I hardly ever mention it, but I thought I'd mention it this month because of there being an emphasis on Saturn going through the sign that Saturn is transiting. But not for much longer, because Saturn comes out of there at the beginning of near the beginning of the last week of December for a few months before going back in again in 2015 for a while. So it's coming to the end of its transit there. And what else do I need to say to you? The one about Venus on Saturn is to do with, you know, having to be a little bit firmer with somebody, or having to be just a bit more businesslike with somebody. And it's not a great time for making money or getting a good deal on anything when Venus goes over, Saturn goes over, or Venus and Saturn are together, and that's between the 10th and the 14th. Okay, so I know I said that before, but I just thought I'd say it again. Now then, until the 9th, discussions could revolve around family. You have very much, you know, the root of your life on your mind. That could be to do with location, that could be to do with property, that could be to do with parents, that could be to do with your past, tradition, a legacy. You know, interchanges could touch a nerve there. Could touch a nerve, because nerves and sensitivities are near the surface. Then from the 9th to the 28th, which is most of the months, Mercury is in the same, comes into the same sector as the Sun. It's very innovative and creative, and whatever you're doing, there could be more laughs and distractions along the way, and more, as I say, mental focus or conversations with or about young people, pets, that kind of thing. And then Venus, well, Venus up until the 17th is in the same area as the Sun, underpinning spontaneity, underpinning romance as well, very much so. And you and somebody could really be hitting it off with Venus here, despite the fact that between the 10th and the 14th, the energy's a little bit right and proper and P's and Q's, you know, and self-conscious, you know, or indeed, this shall not, whatever. And that might be coming at you, it might not be coming from you either. So because with everything I say about the transits, you could mentally just turn it around to the other way, because the energy can come through you directly or at you sort of indirectly, because it's bouncing, it's reflecting off somebody else to you, as it were. And then from the 17th, Venus moves into a very practical area just before the Sun does. So this is the more serious, okay, let's get organized, let's get the act together area here. And it is a very good area for teamwork. So you could be having more interaction with skilled people, or having to use your skills or learn skills here. Getting your head around something new, either on purpose or by accident, because the situation just demands it, that you understand how, you know, which button to press, like you've got to defuse a bomb or something, and is it the red wire or the brown one, you know, or the blue one. You see, I can't even get the colours of the wire, but of course it's not going to be anything as dramatic as that. It's going to be you perhaps being very, very supported by somebody in a practical sense, who actually knows which wire you've got to cut and just tells you to do it, and they are on your side. You don't have to second guess them and cut the other one. Having said that, so, and this area as well, I'll just leave that up to you. And this area as well is to do with health matters. That could be, again, the energy bouncing from somebody to you indirectly, because they are having a problem with, you know, a health matter, or indeed defusing a bomb, you know, or, you know, spark plugs in the car, or a flat battery, or, you know, how to load an app on their Android, or whatever it is. But it could be you personally as well. So it's a very practical sort of head round it area, but you're likely to have help. And if you've got to go out and seek help, you're likely to get the right sort of help with Venus here, and that's from the 17th till the end of the month. Mars is in your opposite sign, making interactions quite lively. It's great actually, because you will get the kind of drive and motivation there because of somebody else. you're both up for it, you're both into it. So in the love department, that can be quite good and sizzly and nice, because you feel a strong pull towards someone, they feel a strong pull towards you. However, you won't be backwards and coming forwards with Mars here, or they won't be backwards and coming forwards, because it's a hasty energy. So don't jump in with both feet before you realize what you're doing. But overall, cooperative interactions if it's not the love department, but in something practical, which it's likely to be, then they can help. But try not to let somebody tire you out. Try not to let somebody else's sort of drag you off in a direction that you kind of feel uncomfortable with, because that can happen with Mars there. But just work on, you know, being more patient, deliberately more patient, deliberately more diplomatic, and try not to take it too personally if that Mars energy is bouncing at you from somebody else indirectly. And then from the 22nd, the Sun moves into the area that Venus is in, this very practical area, niggly details, lists, schedules, timetables, maintenance, repairs. A stitch in time saves 9. And Mercury's there as well. They're all sort of bundled in there together. Saturn is in a very good angle to your sun sign. I've mentioned Saturn. You Cancerians born in the last 10 days or with 23 to 28 degrees rising are going to feel the energy of Saturn the most this month. Jupiter, expansive, abundant Jupiter potentially, is in the area of your piggy bank until next August. You can do well financially or through property until next August if you play your cards right. Because in astrology, it's never the planets alone, you know, they're completely detached, neutral forces with different characters, but they don't have like polarized thinking. You know, they don't judge. It's our reaction to the positions one to the other throughout the year that has a resonance within us. And then it's our reactions that's the important thing here. So potentially Jupiter can really do you a favor being in that area of your solar chart until next August. And this is a time for you to reach out wherever Jupiter is, expand. So expand the business, expand on a skill, you know, just go for something which can actually work out to be lucrative for you, and put yourself in environments that you're not used to, but which could be quite surprising, because others appreciate your skill, your talent, your ability, your property, something that you want to package and sell or put out there, you know, but you need to be out of your comfort zone to do it. You Cancerians, you like your shell, you know, but you're very good at business as well, and you're very canny and shrewd, Cancerians and Capricorns as well. So you Cancerians born in the last 10 days with 19 to 23 degrees rising will feel this energy the most this month, and that's it. For November, if you know your rising sign and your moon sign, which you should do, it's very important for a Cancerian to know their moon sign, listen to those. And also, if you want to read this, you know it's all written up on my website. You just have to go there and read it. And I'll see you the next time.